Good evening. I'm John Stone. Welcome to GA12 Tonight, our weeknight 9 p.m. webcast on what's going on today across the 12th District, across the nation, taking your calls and comments. If it's the first time you've joined us, please email your questions to john@johnstoneforcongress.com or use Facebook or Twitter to give us your questions or comments about what you would like to add to tonight's broadcast. We've had a great day today in the district. Again, we've started out this morning out in Evans, Georgia, meeting with some folks at a breakfast restaurant there, and interestingly ran into incumbent John Barrow at breakfast this morning, had a few cordial remarks back and forth, and then went about our business. But it's interesting, we're both showing up in the same places, and that was a sort of an unexpected event this morning. Spent the day down in Springfield meeting with some of our old friends there and in the territory between Augusta and Effingham County. Got some great comments on ways to bring people back together in our district for a unified goal of winning back this seat. You know, one of the things that folks today and for the last couple of weeks have been pointing out to me is that we need to win this primary, but we need to do it in a way that draws our party together, so that the day after the primary, we're all working together for a common goal of winning this seat back to get the things done we need for our district and for our nation. And today's trip and conversations were very helpful in driving that point home even further. Start with our questions tonight. Number one, and this is a repeat from some of the comments last week, is Congress exempting itself from Obamacare? And do you agree or disagree? And the answer to that is no, Congress is not necessarily doing that. Congress, as we talked last week, Republicans in Congress actually forced Democrats Obama and Harry Reid to add members of Congress and their staff into the requirements of Obamacare. And by law, they are required to be taken out of the current Federal Employees Health Benefit Plan, which services all federal employees, everybody from the Department of Agriculture to the FBI, and placed instead into whatever federal system is created to operate with Obamacare, whatever federal health plan. Well, right now there is no federal health plan to put anybody into, so the Obama administration, through the Office of Personnel Management last week, suggested waiving the requirement for members of Congress and their staff to participate in Obamacare, as is called for under the law that Republicans forced through. I disagree with that. I think if we have a problem, it needs to stay there. Secondly, Obama doesn't have the authority to make that decision. The law is the law. We have to comply with it, or we have to go back and change the law and repeal it through the proper legal means, the proper constitutional means, which is for Congress to enact new legislation detailing that. There's the situation we're in right now, is Obama is trying to repeal the law. And unfortunately, we even have some members of our own party in Congress that are saying, let's go ahead, let's go along with this, and let Congress and staff members be removed from the law. I disagree with that. Senator Mike Lee has a plan to force members of Congress back into it. I think as long as the law is out there, Congress needs to be forced into it so that they are experiencing what the American people are, and that gives us better hope for having a complete replacement or repeal or defunding of Obamacare in the long term, so that we have the same law functioning for everybody in the country. So to answer your question directly, no, Congress is not repealing the law. Obama is trying to waive the law for members of Congress through the Office of Personnel Management. Next question, what can we do to increase jobs in our district? We've talked about this for several nights now. Unfortunately, our congressional district, the 12th District, has the worst unemployment of all congressional districts in Georgia. Now, there's more than one reason for that, but a prime one is that we have not followed through with the major job-building infrastructure improvements that we were slated to push through before our current Congressman John Barrow came to office. Prime among those are the construction of 2 new interstates, improvements at the Savannah River site, continued support for our military bases at Fort Stewart and Fort Gordon. And yes, I know that Fort Stewart technically is no longer in our district, but we have so many active soldiers in working at Fort Stewart every day that are in our district. It's a part of our district, just like the Port of Savannah. I consider part of our district, even though it's not technically in our district. We're going to continue working for all of those things as hard as we possibly can, and we're getting somebody knocking at the door at the office here. We'll continue working for those things as hard as we can. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking to the Uptown Kiwanis Club in Augusta specifically about the interstate proposal. And if you haven't heard that before this campaign is over, you certainly will. And I ask you to drop back with us tomorrow night. I'll fill you in on some of the details. One of the new interstate maps are up behind me now. But join us tomorrow night at 9 o'clock for GA12 Tonight. Until then, God bless Georgia, God bless America, and good night.